Hello, my name is Eric with a K. I am the offlane slash flex player for Spooky Ghosts, and I wanted to make this video about Medivh. Basically, go over what makes him strong in such a coordinated environment. Why I think he's a really good hero. Why I think he's really underrated. And basically the build that I use, and go over a little bit of a replay that we played recently. So right off the bat, level 1, Portal Mastery is the only pickable talent. I think the other two are very irrelevant. Health and mana regen is really, really bad. Unless you're missing all your Qs, you're never going to run out of mana. And health really isn't that big of a deal. And then movement speed in Raven form is pretty good, but for the most part, you're going to want to be speeding up your rotations with your portals, and not so much by like yourself. You want to be able to rotate your wave clear, right? Not necessarily just yourself. So, there are 4 reasons why Portal Mastery is such a good talent, and 2 of them are right there in the tooltip, and 2 of them are not. So the ones that are in the tooltip, Medivh can manually place both portal locations. So that's really good. You can place a portal in the front, place a portal in the back. This is really helpful because if your team's chasing, instead of just putting a portal here between me and Malfurion, say we're trying to chase this Arthas down, and I didn't have Portal Mastery, and I just put the portal here, Malfurion wouldn't really be able to take advantage of it, right? But if I do have Portal Mastery, and we're chasing down an Arthas, say the Arthas is like over here, we can put the portal in front, so that both Medivh and Malfurion have the opportunity to take that portal instead of just one hero. And that's kind of important because a lot of times you're going to be closer to the backline, especially when you're not in your mount. Like, your tank's going to be up here, and you're going to want to portal your tank in, so you can just go up here instead of having to walk over to your tank, place your portal, and that's very important. And then, obviously, the other part of the tooltip doesn't break Raven form, and this is probably the most useful part about Portal Mastery, because speeding up rotations, keeping your mount movement speed is very, very good. The whole point, not the whole point, but one of the main things that makes Medivh so good is that he gets to speed up like a 4-man rotation. So being able to not break your own rotation when you place portals is really relevant. That being said, there are times where you still want to, close the distance with your portal. So in those cases, you still might want to place your portal and then walk through it yourself. And you can do that by, if you want to place like a really aggressive portal, you can place it down like this and then dismount and then walk through it. And then you can still take it, no problem. Okay, and then the 2 reasons why Portal Mastery is good that it's not in the tooltip. And the first one is kind of niche, but the second one is super, super important. So the first one is that the 2 halves of your portal are, the first one needs to be placed in your standard E range. So you can see this is the range of my E. The first half of my portal needs to be placed inside this first little circle. If you look at my E, it can't be placed outside of that circle. To try to place it, it needs to be placed inside that big circle. So if I try and place it outside of that circle, it's going to like force move me to be there. So it needs to be placed inside this large circle. And granted, that large circle is very, very big, but it's definitely worth noting that the second half of the portal has to be placed relative to this first half of the portal. And that's super important because it does not care about where Medivh is at all. So if I place that first half of the portal and then fly all the way over here, I can then place the second half of the portal wherever I want. And that's super, super good. If, say, I'm in the top lane right now, and my Malfurion is clearing a wave, and I want to rotate down, but my Malfurion wants to stay here and soak the wave, I can give him a portal right here, and then walk all the way down to the mid lane, and then I'm clearing the mid lane, Malfurion's clearing the top lane, he's done clearing the top lane, and then he's like, hey, yo, Eric, I need a portal, and then boom, there's a portal right there, and I don't have to walk all the way over there to portal him over. It's also worth noting that ability clamps too, so I don't even need to move my camera. If my portal's right there and I'm over here, I can literally press the E key right here and it'll place the portal. It'll just clamp it to the nearest location. So very, very good in terms of like speeding up rotations, getting your allies to places quicker. Those kind of small things are what makes Medivh so useful. He's a utility hero. 100% of the reason you pick Medivh is for his utility. And then the last thing, which is I think the most important thing about Portal Mastery, is it gives you this blue beacon. And that blue beacon is so, so good because it is it is visible to your allies and it is not visible to your enemies. So if there's an Arthas, say that Arthas was like chilling out right here and he walks like a tiniest bit out in front of his gate, I can just have my Diablo in here be like, hey Diablo, there's a portal in this bush. And Diablo knows, and he's going to go stand in that bush right where the portal's going to be. And Arthas has no cognizance of whether or not there's a threat in this bush here. And then Arthas walks like right here, and then boom, there's a portal. Diablo charges him. Arthas is dead. So those kind of things, you can constantly be moving your... you can constantly be moving the first half of your portal by pressing the 1 and the D key. So basically just like making sure that your tank always knows where the first half of your portal is going to be. You can see in the replay that I'm going to show later that there are going to be a lot of times where I have my portal placed so that my tank can take advantage of it. And as the fight sort of moves, I'll be like, okay, the portal's here, like, you know, right at the gate. And then we'll be sieging the fort, and I'll be like, okay, the portal's here, right above the fort. And so Johanna, in the replay that I show, is always going to be positioning herself so that she can take advantage of that portal wherever it is, or wherever it will be. So yeah, that's Portal Mastery, and that is the only talent pickable at level 1 for Medivh right now. At level 4, let's set our level to 20. We are 20. At level 4, I think the talent is Ravens. I think Dust of Disappearance is fine, giving vision and whatnot, but I think Ravens is so good because it gives auto attack damage, and Ravens that's slow. When you go through your portal, it allows you to kind of like harass backliners by going through a portal, getting a Raven, auto attacking, then going back to your portal, getting another Raven, auto attacking. It increases the amount of threat that your gank increases like your gank potential and the amount of threat that your 4-man has. So if one hero gets caught out when they normally would be fine, Ravens will slow them down, provide the extra damage to get that pick. And that's really important because Medivh has very fast rotations already, and he enables fast rotations. So it basically keeps your opponents honest in terms of how far out they can clear waves, especially in the early game. Once you hit level 4, your rotations become very, very dangerous. Level 7, Arcane Explosion. I can talk a lot about why Arcane Explosion is good, but I think, honestly, the main reason why it's good is because it just synergizes so well with your level 10 Leyline Seal. At level 10, if you hit a Leyline, and it hits 4 people right here, and they're all right here, in this like, one little location, your whole team groups, your whole team hits all their damage, and then their whole team comes out of the Leyline, and suddenly there's, like, 8 people right here, and you just press W, and it hits 3 people on your team, and their whole team hits your team with damage, and suddenly that W just gets a ton of impact. And that's the main reason why I think I like Arcane Explosion the most. I really don't think the other 2 talents are necessary. This Q talent is just extra damage. It gives you a little bit of self-sustain, but that's not super relevant. And then Force of Magic is just, why would you take that? But yeah, there's others kind of small applications for Arcane Explosion. You can use it to like get extra damage on a boss by having your whole team group for like the boss stun, and then you can Arcane Explosion and get a bunch of burst damage. And that's really only relevant when your team has pretty bad boss damage. But just in general, Arcane Explosion, good talent, good damage, makes your W super, super hard to deal with. And I guess because I kind of neglected this top Q talent here, it's worth noting that like Medivh has this baseline quest for his Arcane Rift, and while it does give you a lot more damage and a lot more threat in a team fight if you can like poke out their backlines with a portal and stuff like that, I really don't think that this quest is that pivotal to Medivh's ultimate gameplay. You're picking Medivh to be a utility hero. Ultimately, the damage shouldn't matter that much. If you're hitting really solid Ws and really solid ley lines in a team fight, that should just be getting the job done on its own. So yeah, that's the main reason why I don't think the quest is that impactful. It's definitely good to keep it, and you should be selfish about your Ws. If you have a choice to save, you or an ally, you should always save yourself if your quest isn't done. But losing the quest, dying, isn't the end of the world. So level 10 Leyline Seal, super impactful. This is like such a free engage. It's like Zeratul Void Prison, except you don't have to worry about putting yourself in danger. It's so good. I can't stress enough how good this heroic is. One of the best parts about this heroic is that it forces 2 different styles of this heroic combined with the Medivh's kit forces 2 different styles of positioning from your enemies. So Leyline Seal discourages allies from grouping up, or sorry, discourages enemies from grouping up. But your portal encourages enemies to group up, because if you have a portal here and they're not grouping up for a ley line, it means one of their backliners is isolated. So you can portal your tank onto their backline, and then suddenly they're caught out. So the dynamic between, forcing them to group or forcing them not to group between leyline and portal is very, very big, and that's one of the main reasons why Medivh can pick engages so easily, and it's so hard to counterplay against him, because he always has those two options. Worth noting that Leyline Seal can get kind of interrupted against certain things, like Mighty Gust is a really big counter to it. I mean, it's like 20 seconds less cooldown or whatever, and basically just instantly cucks your Leyline. I think the biggest thing about Leyline is you don't really need a lot of follow-up damage out of Leyline, because Medivh himself can do a fair amount, and it honestly is such a strong engage that the damage isn't super relevant. The main thing you need to consider out of Leyline is follow-up CC. If you can hit the follow-up CC, whether it's a Diablo 8-Pac or a Johanna Condemn Blessed Shield, or even like a Mal'Ganis Sleep, something like that, like CC is the most important thing you need out of Leyline. And at level 13, I like to take Circle of Protection for the same reason why I was talking about why Arcane Explosion is good. Circle of Protection enables that kind of play where you ley line and then your whole team groups up and you just press W and then boom, everyone's protected, and you end up getting a lot of extra bonus damage. I guess worth noting about Arcane Explosion is it does cap the damage that gets bounced back at the enemy at 691, at level 20 at least. But when you take Circle of Protection, that's 691 per ally hit by your W, so that's up to 1200 damage. If you hit 3 allies, it's 1800 damage, on and on. So really, really good synergy between Arcane Explosion and Circle of Protection. Circle of Protection does increase your W cooldown by 2 seconds, which can be relevant. But for the most part, I think it's the go-to talent. Enduring Will, I will take at times as well, when I have something like a Mal'Ganis or a Garrosh that is being focused down pretty hard when they hit their engages. Enduring Will is just a good way to make sure that that one hero on your team that's eating a lot of the damage is able to stay alive. And Reabsorption is not a talent when you have a healer. At 16, I think Stable Portal is the only pick, really. I can kind of see merit, and I've had success with Temporal Flux, reducing your heroic cooldown. That can be kind of good, especially when you're behind and you want to just kind of like stall them as long as possible, let your team soak up an XP. You can sometimes just like Temporal Flux. I've had times where my team would like capture a boss, and it would like push down a lane on like Alterac Pass, and then as the enemy team's defending the boss, I'll leyline them as they're defending, just because I can, and because the cooldown's so short. I can't stress enough how low this cooldown is, or how big of a cooldown reduction is. I think it comes down to like 8 seconds per Q you hit on an enemy hero. It's absurd. So you can like leyline their team, hit like 2 or 3 Qs, and then I walked back up to the boss, and their team came to fight over the boss that my team was on, and had my leyline back up, and was able to leyline them and take the boss. So yeah, I guess Leyline Seal, really, really impactful, really strong engage, very, very little counterplay the enemy can do in combination with your portal. It's also very good at turning fights. So like if an ally gets caught out of place, you can Leyline Seal as they get caught, because a lot of enemies are going to group around that caught ally, and then suddenly the fight instantly turns around in your favor, and you get a massive W, a massive Arcane Explosion, and just the fight takes a 180 really quickly. But yeah, going back to 16, I think Temporal Flux has some uses, but Stable Portal is ultimately the right pick. In a lot of cases, it just gives you more uptime on your portal. That's really all there is to it. It lets you play a little bit more aggressively, knowing that you're always going to have a portal here. As long as you're playing around where your portal is located, it's pretty hard to kill you as a hero. And you can see that without toggle cooldowns on... how do I get rid of that? Oh well. You can see that without toggle cooldowns on, if I place a portal, I need to pick talents first. Explosion, Leyline, Circle Protection, Stable Portal. Without toggle cooldowns on, if I place a portal, it's going to be up for a very long time. And then the second it goes down, there's literally only 2 seconds of downtime in between when you get another portal. So increasing that uptime is very, very good. It enables chases really well. You can like chase a bunch of heroes, and then just when they think they've gotten out, you have another portal again, and then you can portal again into their backline. So very, very good. At level 20, there are a couple options here. I'll talk about the two that I don't pick very frequently, and those are Arcane Brilliance and Dust of Disappearance. I think Dust of Disappearance has some cool applications, being able to like kind of stealth people and like, do some cool things with that, just like being invisible, whatnot. I think that has some cool applications, but ultimately I haven't gotten a lot of use out of it. It's really hard to be impactful with. At level 20, most teams aren't like rotating, or you can't really like catch rotations out. Oftentimes it just ends up forcing fights. And Medivh doesn't want to force a fight without a leyline. So ultimately I think it's kind of like counter synergistic with leyline, because you want to force a fight with leyline. Dust of Disappearance kind of does what leyline does already. Arcane Brilliance, on the other hand, has a lot of cool applications. Mostly because you saw that when I cast Dust of Disappearance on this Malfurion, when I was in mount, it dismounted me. Arcane Brilliance does not dismount you. So you can Arcane Brilliance right before a team fight. It's the equivalent of Ana nano boosting for half your team for like kind of a small nano boost. And it has some potential. I mean, giving people mana can sometimes be relevant. If you get to level 20 and you're like, oh, we want to take a fight, but my Kel'Thas is out of mana, then maybe you take Arcane Brilliance just to give him mana to enable you that fight before their team hits 20. Things like that. Kind of really situational. Depends on really when you hit 20 and what's happening in the game when you hit 20. And obviously depending on if your team can take advantage of the spell power or not. Guardian of Tears Fall is, I think, a little bit of a trap talent. It's literally wave clear that you get once you're already 20. You can kind of do some cheese things with it, like shoving catapults into their core, and like kind of portaling in between waves and just like getting a lot of stuff. But again, you're already level 20. Why are you spending the time to push your waves? If you're 20 and they're not, you're just, pushing XP into their team. And if you're both 20, then it's really kind of irrelevant anyway. I think it has some small applications on like big maps where you can kind of like force some weird macro plays and shove catapults into cores again. But other than that, I think it's Medivh Cheats is generally the go-to level 20. It just increases the setup time for your leyline, gives you the ability to hit more heroes at once by redirecting it. Important to note that it does increase the time stop duration, so if you have something like a Diablo APOC or just teammates like a Dragon Arrow ready to follow up on leyline, it's important to tell those teammates that, hey, like my leyline is going to be a little bit longer duration. It's going to be 1 second longer, so they can kind of line up their cooldowns to be in time with the end of the leyline. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the talents. I'm going to go into a little bit of a replay now and kind of show off why Medivh is good, what makes him good, how you can kind of rotate with him. I honestly don't think this was my best performance of Medivh, but it does kind of highlight some of the things that I wanted to talk about. So right off the bat, I just want to say that I've kind of developed a little bit of a reputation of being this good Medivh player in our league, in NGS Division B, but I really don't think that I have anything to do with it. I think 100% of the reason why my team is so successful with Medivh is just that. It's that my team knows how to play with Medivh. It's honestly my team doing a lot of the work. I'm just kind of allowing it to happen. But you'll see there are a lot of times where I'm placing portals. All of my teammates are walking through the portals instantly. They're really good about, following up on leyline, making sure they go through portals, things like that. And if your allies don't know how to play with Medivh, then you might as well not be picking Medivh, because it's so much more important for your allies to know how to play with Medivh than for you to know how to play the hero. So right off the bat, you can see that our damage isn't honestly that good. Like, we have Hanzo, we have Malthael, and we really don't have a lot of burst damage, which seems kind of weird with leyline, because oftentimes you leyline and you want to set up for this big wombo combo, right? But leyline isn't. It's not an ult. It's a positioning ult, right? It's not really a wombo combo ult like something like Void Prison, because it is a little bit more unstable because heroes come out of the leyline at different times, things like that. So it's important to have the follow-up CC, not so much the follow-up damage. So you see we have a lot of follow-up CC. We have Dragon Arrow, we have Johanna, all her abilities, we have a Light Bomb, and Malthael will kind of just get the damage done over those long fights. So right now I'm just like portaling up, catching experience. Not really super focused on getting my Q quest stacked, but I do end up being super aggressive here. They end up getting me caught out. Murden's stun is long enough to hit the Alarak silence. I have no time to W, no time to E, and I just get obliterated there. Good on Lurk Patrol, this team that we're playing, for taking advantage of my aggressive positioning. And so I kind of learn after that, hey, like I can't ever be that aggressive. This team knows how to follow up. And I kind of just sort of abandoned hope on getting Q stacked early, which is fine. Getting Q stacked early isn't like it's really not that important. My main goal in the early game: soak XP, enable rotations, get my wave clear to the lanes that they need to go to. Just do my job. So I'm just going to speed this up a little bit. Not really much exciting going on. We're mostly just trying to hit level 4 so that our Hanzo can get actual wave clear. And I'm just doing my job, kind of trying to soak pretty easily. Alright, so I guess right here is kind of relevant. Kind of what I was talking about earlier. Me and Malthael kind of get caught out here. And Malthael ends up taking the Alarak Q, but I W myself because in those situations, like it's just more important for me to stay alive than Malthael. If one of us is going to die, I'd rather be him because I have my Q quest to take care of. But all in all, not that big of a deal. Rotate, grab our bruisers. We're still a little bit behind in XP. It's kind of hard because we have really bad wave clear into kill Thos right now. Now that Hanzo's 4, it shouldn't be that big of an issue. We should catch up pretty easily. But all in all, we're pretty fine. Malthael tries to do the siege camp. They rotated on him. It's fine. He is definitely alive. Barely. Wow. Good job, Malthael. We get the bruiser camp. I'm just over here soaking XP. We kind of caught up a little bit after we got the camp. So now it's all in all a very even game. Bruiser camp pushing in. Portals to rotate. We get a nice little rotation on this Blaze. If we managed to interrupt that E charge a little bit sooner, it would have been lights out for the Blaze, I think. You can see that I enabled that rotation without even taking the portal myself. I'm just going to try and stall the web weavers here, but there's not much I can do. Like in that, I think if I hadn't gotten picked out in the first minute of that game, I probably would have tried to stall that out right there, but knowing that, Murden, Lucio, Alarak is more than enough damage to just 100 to 0 me. I'm just playing rather conservatively. There's no reason for me to force a fight there, especially when we were just shy of 7. So they have a web weaver turn in. This is kind of the first big play that Medivh kind of enables here. Their tank player does a really, really good job of trying to zone our rotation. We decided to stay mid and clear mid web weavers first. We probably should have done top first since the lane was pushed out a little bit more, but we decided to stay for mid, and their Murden player does a really good job about making sure that we can't rotate up here. He's just kind of stunning me. Little does he know there's a portal here that literally just puts our entire backline in a safe position and allows us to defend relatively easily. Not a whole lot going on, just basic defense. Malthael's down here. He has the free clear against Blaze for the most part. Portal there to put Johanna back into position. All in all, things going relatively smoothly. Worth noting that I don't think our team has really the ability to win a fight pre-10. Like, all of our CC happens at 10. We get the Blessed Shield, we get the Light Bomb, we get the Dragon Arrow. So until that happens, we're really not in a position to pick a hero, which is why we play this first half of the game relatively passively. But you'll see once we hit level 10, we start to take fights maybe a little bit too frequently. But for now, just level 10 is what we're focused on. There's me placing the portal there just to get to the XP a little bit quicker before it despawns. Sort of rotating down. This is definitely a little bit of a weird game. There wasn't really a hard 4-man presence. There was a lot of strange rotations happening. But all in all, I think post 10 it becomes a lot more normal. Kel'Thas is going to stick around here. I'm going to interrupt it because I see Murden going down already and my team's going down. And we got this pick on Blaze. And so this pick on Blaze is probably like, it's great on Malthael. You can see he's already doing a lot of damage to Blaze, but half the reason that half the reason that our team is getting this pick on Blaze is because I'm getting vision of 3 heroes on their team right here. You can see that we have vision of 3, and my team is like, okay, we're going to go rotate out on Blaze. He's so far up in the mid lane. Malthael's already got his mark on him. If he literally takes one more step forward, he's dead. And I'm not in a position to portal, but just by giving vision of these 3 heroes, we're able to make that rotation. So my whole team rotates down. Boom. Malthael does a good job stopping the Blazy, and that's just a kill. So definitely able to make that happen because I had vision of the 3 people on the top lane. Basically, it was 2 of their damage dealers, so picking a fight there was pretty easy. They hit 10, so we're just trying to play a little bit safe. Not really much we can do. Level 10 is here for us. I kind of almost get caught out there, but we're fine. So now that we're level 10, that sort of dynamic between my portal and my ley line is going to come into play here. So you'll see that I'm constantly in a position looking for a fight. Blaze in the bot lane trying to deny our turn in. We end up getting it, and I am just on the lookout for a ley line. And here's where it happens. And it kind of happens from what I was saying earlier, where I kind of just get caught out, and they kind of try to capitalize on me being caught out. And they end up getting ley line for it. And I don't think it ended up leading to much. But that was kind of the first example of like a hero getting caught out, even though it was me. It was a ley line, and it's set up for some things. The light bomb ended up missing. The arrow went on the wrong target, and the team fight went south. But ultimately, I think the ley line was good, and assuming the CC had been there properly, it would have been a good team fight. But we lose those heroes, and kind of unfortunate. But we still have the web weavers pushing. And let's speed up a little bit. I think we end up rotating to the bottom lane. Yeah, Blaze comes down here. And getting vision of Blaze right here is kind of nice. We know that he's down here, so my team can 4v4 relatively easily. And we rotate down a lot faster. Let's back up here. This would have been one of those times where I could have put a portal, like say like right here, for my teammates to rotate with, or even like right here, to speed up the rotation if we were trying to get a pick on this Blaze. But I do end up portaling into the backline here. And Ravens, you see how slowed he is because of the Ravens. And we're able to just kind of pick him. Malthael gets his ult off, and Blaze ends up falling. And honestly, that rotation could have been so much faster if I had placed the portal like over here. We could have been instantly on that Blaze. Portal to get Johanna out. She's good about taking it. I'm communicating to her, obviously, hey, Johanna, there's going to be a portal here. Let's speed this up a little bit. Oh, actually, I kind of forgot about this ley line. So this was, honestly, just kind of a mistake on their team. They were trying to punish an overextension, but Blaze was dead. Let's back up just a little bit. So Blaze is dead here, and they're trying to punish Johanna's overextension. Murden's coming in for a flank, and they're like, oh, we can take this fight. But it turns out that those 2 heroes getting caught out right there was enough for them to force this choke on this retreat. It's a good ley line. You can see here, Blessed Shield, Arrow, Condemn, boom, everything hits that fight, and the CC's there. Sound barrier goes off way too late. I tell my team to focus on this Alarak because we want to reset the sadism, and we end up getting 3 kills. And take a lot of living bomb damage because we're all gold players. But all in all, really good fight. You can see that like just forcing them to retreat through that choke was kind of a mistake. I think they realized about halfway up that, hey, Blaze isn't here. What are we doing? And they kind of walked through this little choke here. Perfect ley line. Allows us to get another turn in, except somebody was on top getting a turn in for them. We were kind of disappointed about that. We really thought this was their turn in. End up rotating up. Portal into the backline gives us slows on all the heroes. We actually don't get a kill, which is kind of unfortunate. I think realistically we probably could have, but we didn't have heroics there. Like the CC wasn't there, and that's the reason why we didn't get that kill. All the damage was fine, but no CC means no heroes. Anduin gets caught out there, but it's no problem. He has a portal. I'm yelling at him. Anduin, take the portal. He's like, okay, I'll take the portal, and then he's fine. Easy peasy. Gotta defend web weavers now. And this is, I think, the main fight where things kind of go south for them. Maybe not going south, but we're up here. We're trying to defend the top lane. I portal my team in so that they can rotate a little bit faster, specifically the Johanna, because she's most of the melee wave clear. And they're trying to get this keep. I think they do end up getting it eventually, but you're going to see that the portal behind them is going to be what causes this ley line to happen. And this ends up being a really kind of disconnected fight. The light bomb actually hits Alarak, but the sound barrier is able to go off, which means a lot of our damage is really rough. I think right there, I needed to hit a good W, and I kind of wasted it. Portal on the backline just basically threatens them, makes them retreat. But my W usage in this fight was really bad. The ley line was suboptimal. But yeah, the W hits here on basically no damage. Because of that, Blaze is able to get his whole ult off, no problem. I'm able to actually apply a lot of damage on the backline here, just kind of peppering him. And able to portal out, obviously, because I'm unkillable. We end up getting the pick on Blaze, thanks to Malthael. And the pick on Kel'Thas, and it's just kind of a small overextension on their part. Alarak ends up going down. And Lucio makes it out, Murda makes it out, no problem. But yeah, the CC again wasn't quite there because the ley line was suboptimal, the W was suboptimal, but we get 2 kills, we're able to go to the boss, and I think you'll see here that we're able to do the little arcane explosion shenanigans that I was talking about, where we all just kind of group up on the boss. Our boss damage is relatively slow, it's basically only Hanzo who has the damage. So see, getting this big burst of damage is kind of nice. Even if Anduin had stepped on there, it would have basically killed it in that one arcane explosion. All rotating down. Every single one of my team members takes a portal, except for Hanzo, who has to go tap. Don't quite get another turn. We do get another turn in. Great. So instead of pushing with this boss, we get a turn in. We get level 16. Let's increase this speed a little bit more. And all in all, really nice. And now my job here is just to look for a ley line. That is my whole job. Look for a ley line or portal Johanna into the backline. I'm like, hey, Johanna, there's a portal by the gate. Hey, Johanna, I'm moving the portal. It's going to be above the fort right now. Just saying things like that. Very, very important. Johanna's obviously standing here ready to take advantage of this portal. She's ready to fight if the situation arises, but instead we rotate down. This was kind of one of the parts where I screwed up. When you place the first half of your portal, I talked about it clamping. So the first half of my portal was up here, and I kind of forgot that it was up here. So when my team rotated down, I tried to place a portal to like give us this really fast rotation, and it ended up clamping from this portal and getting placed right there, which is really useless. So definitely remember to cancel your first portal with D if you want to place a new one. Yeah, just looking to fight here. We're looking to push into the keep. Not really a whole lot going on. Malthael being a little bit aggressive. But he can kind of do that because he has a portal and a potential W. We're going to retreat here. Hanzo gets kind of caught out, but Johanna there to provide some good CC. She has to blow Busted Shield, so we know that we can't fight for a little while. So we're just going to kind of walk away, do our bruiser camps. Probably going to give up most of gem turn-ins, but they don't have enough to turn in, so we're not super worried. Let's speed this up a little bit. Nothing really going on. Trying to portal my team in to maybe interrupt this, but it doesn't really come of it. Alright, let's back up here. So here is the worst ley line of my life. My thought process here is that I'm trying to like get vision of this rotation because we know they're on their bruisers. There's nowhere else they could be. Trying to get vision of this rotation and kind of cut it off because they can't run through this choke, right? This is the easiest ley line of my life. So they're going to run up here. and I'm trying to get that so that they run through this choke right here to hit my ley line. And what ends up happening is I hit the ley line on that choke, but in a really, really bad spot, and it ends up hitting one person. And it's just way too late. I hit ley line right as I get flame striked. Half of our team takes a bunch of damage, but my whole team follows up. We blow our ult, so we kind of got to fight. Sound barrier was perfect. The W was wasted. Mathiel gets deleted. Really, really bad team fight on our part. And a lot of that was because the ley line was south. I'm able to make it out with the gems, which is good. I think that's fine. But that was realistically a problem. I have a portal for Anduin there. I W him because I thought he was going to get stunned by Muradin, which kind of put me in danger. But ultimately I was fine because I could take the portal myself. And if Anduin dies there, we just instantly lose the game. Right now, we're not super worried about them ending the game because they don't have a ton of siege with Alarak. So we're just going to try to defend, doing as much damage as I can, getting all the Qs in. And right now, this is the part where it's pretty clear that they're not going to be able to end. Blaze on low HP, Alarak on low HP, Muradin on low HP. Basically, the only two people with a health pool are their squishies. And both of our heroes are about to respawn. So this is where we need to look to kind of turn the fight. So I honestly, if I had Leyline here, this would be the perfect time to Leyline, but I don't. So instead, I'm going to portal into their backline. This is the part where Portal Mastery ends up getting a lot of value. Portal just got placed there. It now expired, so I'm going to have a new one just about now. And boom, another portal comes out. Literally everyone on my team takes it. We're able to close the gap on even a Lucio with Amp It Up. Blessed Shield whiff there, which was kind of unfortunate, but it doesn't matter because we get another portal. I'm able to leyline two people, and that's another kill on the Blaze. Lucio gets out because he popped his trait. What a god. So yeah, we literally made that whole cage through this fort, and that's just so ridiculous. Just the things that Medivh can do to empower those kinds of rotations is kind of nuts. Those kind of chases and things like that. So Lucio's going to be the ultimate MVP here and go get a turn in like right before we get ours in. I'm literally turning my gems in. We need like 15 more. Our team's doing it, but Lucio gets it before us. Unfortunate. So we'll speed this up a little bit more. Kind of looking for turn in. I think at this point my team actually thought that this web weaver phase was ours. We didn't realize it until like right now that it was theirs, and we were like, oh shit, we need to leave. So yeah, just backing up. And it's honestly a relatively easy defense. We have our lanes pushed up relatively far in the mid and top lane, so we just kind of need to defend here. This is me just kind of looking for a ley line. Looking for like either somebody on their team getting caught out or somebody on our team getting caught out. Hitting the ley line on the Alarak, and you'll see here that all the CC hits him. Didn't even have a chance to press Counter-Strike. He's just dead. And I think he had Counter-Strike on cooldown, right? And I think he just thought that he was going to be fine because he had so much health and he had his whole team there, and we all just got hit by a Flame Strike. But just the, like, look how low, like, kind of our backliners are at this point. Chief Granted Johanna's getting healed up quite a bit. But here the ley line hits Alarak, and our whole backline gets hit by a Flame Strike. And I think if I'm Alarak, I'm thinking, okay, this is our team fight. We have a web weaver here and everything. But you'll see that just the CC comes through, and there's really not a whole lot that Alarak can do. If he Counter-Strikes instantly out of here, I'm holding on to my W so that I can Arcane Explosion me and our Malthael. And it just instantly negates all that Counter-Strike damage. But he chooses not to Counter-Strike. So instead, I get to just hit this big W on the Living Bomb. Right here, and it's just a lot of Arcane Explosion damage onto the Blaze. Really, really good fight. Great ult from Malthael to secure that kill. And we're going to try and maybe, I think realistically we could have chased. My portal was in kind of a weird spot from a long time ago, but ended up not chasing and instead going to defend. I think we thought that maybe we could end, but decided that we needed to go back to defend catapults. Nothing really exciting going on here. Their team. I was thinking about forcing a fight here, but obviously no leyline. We don't have heroics, so it's not a good idea. So we're basically just waiting for our heroics to come back up. Honestly, kind of another reason why the Leyline CDR is kind of bad is because you need to use Leyline in combination with other heroics. So if your Leyline is getting CDR but the other heroics aren't, then there's not really a whole lot to it. I think here I should have teleported onto Murden. He already used his jump and his avatar, but I portaled onto their backline instead, and that was probably a bit of a mistake. But we get Web Weavers here, and this is coming up on the end of the game. And we're just going to sort of push in here for a little bit. You can see that I have a portal here. I ping it so that I can give Malthael a rotation when he comes through, so that Malthael's here right as the rest of our team is. And again, we're just looking for a ley line. I'm again looking for somebody on their team to get caught out so that our Johanna can take advantage of it with a portal. I'm telling Johanna where my portal is at all times. And I'm looking for somebody on our team to get caught out so that they group and I get an easy ley line. And in this case, I think it is Malthael that ends up getting caught out. He gets queued by Murden there. Their whole team walks forward, and then Johanna gets a Blessed Shield into a Condemn, into a ley line. And honestly, my W here was pretty subpar. The Light Bomb whiffs, but the Dragon Arrow connects even through the Sound Barrier. We get the kill with the Blaze, or with the Malthael ult. Really good W there. Prevents all the Arcane Explosion damage, or all the Kel'Thas W damage and the Alarak Q. Keeps our Malthael alive for way longer than he should have been, if we're being honest. And we get 2 kills, and because of that, we're kind of able to end. I'm kind of focusing on getting good W's on the Kel'Thas Flame Strikes, and we're just keeping Hanzo on core, trying to do as much damage as possible while they have 2 heroes dead. And right here is, I think, where the fight turns. They're kind of focusing a lot on Malthael. He has no one can stop death, so he's not really worried about dying at this point. And he ends up falling, but Kel'Thas gets a little aggressive. Flame Strike onto a couple of heroes here. We get a nice W. It's enough damage to just blow them up with Arcane Explosion, and that's the game. So yeah, Medivh, really strong hero. I think a lot of people should play him. Teach your allies how to play with Medivh so that you can play Medivh. And thanks.